3, 2. All right. Hello. We are live. Welcome everyone to another Chat and Learn here with Power to Fly. My name is Mariela Marie, and as always, super excited to roll into this next hour with you all. Our guest speaker is calling from Seattle today, and I can't wait to hear what she's got to share today because I know you all have submitted some beautiful questions before this chat. So we're going to get to those questions. But before we do, I just want to go over some quick housekeeping rules so that we all feel comfortable and confident in this next hour. So we would love for you to participate. You know, you could be doing anything else with your time. If you're here live with us, we want to invite you to share your voice. You can do that by writing things in the chat box. You can hop off mute whenever you have something you'd like to share. I just ask that we try to keep one person off of mute at a time. And if you do hop off mute, you will be featured in our live recording as this is being recorded. So I've muted everyone upon entrance just to avoid any background noise. But again, you have full permission to hop off mute, voice your questions, any tips and tricks of your own that you want to share with this digital space here, this digital community, or, you know, just to reiterate some things, any reflections are also welcome. So feel free to hop off mute. You have my full permission to do that. Let's just be respectful of everyone's voices. Otherwise, please write in the chat box. So if anyone has any sensitive information and you prefer to be held anonymous, you can find me in the chat box under Mariela Marie. You can write to me privately there and I'll flag your question or your reflection to our guest speaker and keep you anonymous. Otherwise, feel free to write publicly in the chat box. If you are rewatching this email, thanks for rewatching. You will be getting a rewatch email if you're here live with us. So be sure to share that link with folks and you can rewatch this at your time and maybe take notes vigorously there. The last thing I'll say is we'd love for you to follow us on socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can keep up with all the great chats we've got in store. And if this is your first chat where I am moderating, I just want to take a couple seconds to introduce myself. So my name is Mariela Marie. I live in Patagonia in Argentina, originally from California and Los Angeles. And I love speaking about the importance of emotional intelligence at home, at work, and at play. So I might bring some of my reflections there. And if anyone wants to philosophize with me on emotional intelligence and the importance of emotional intelligence, feel free to chime in. We've got a lot of work to do. And I know it's kind of like we're just scratching the surface of all the ways we can be practicing emotional intelligence. If anyone wants to support the project that I'm currently working on, please feel free to go to thepositiveforceteam.org, sign up for our newsletter, and you can keep up with all the great stuff I'm working on there. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic to our guest speaker who is feeling a little under the weather today. So I just want to share a disclaimer. If, she needs to step away to get water or put herself on mute, I told her we would give her grace and just to, be, take it easy today with us and share her knowledge in the way that she feels most comfortable. So Lydia, please tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to learn about Power to Fly, and what you're excited to share with us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Like Mariela say, I'm a little bit under weather a while, but I will try my best to definitely give lots of insights to help people here. But my background, I would say that now I have my own business, Awaken Career. So I'm a founder and marketing career consultant in my company, Awaken Career. And really, my business is specialized in helping marketing job seekers because I do have a passion in marketing and also recruitment. And so that speaks my background in corporate world. So in April, I decided to quit my corporate recruiter job. So back then I was with the Pokemon company and I was a marketing recruiter there to help fill with lots of marketing positions in both UK and also US office. So I work with lots of leaders to just like helping them find lots of different marketing talents. And just for me, again, I have a passion for that. So actually, when I came to States, so I originally from Taiwan. So when I came from Taiwan to the States, I actually studied marketing in the University of Washington. So that's how passionate I am with marketing, but I just never got a chance to get into marketing. So my journey, I actually started as sales. That was my first job in the States. Then I turned into recruitment just because I purely want to help people to find a jobs because I've been there. I've been there as an immigrant. To find a jobs in the States is not easy. That's actually the main purpose that I want to become a recruiter. But after working so hard to become a recruiter, so I've been with Amazon, Redfin, and the Pokemon, I just feel like I'm not really helping people. As a recruiter, it's really, really hard to help people who really need help. Most likely, you are the one to help the company to find the best candidates, right? So actually in 2020 when pandemic happened, I just received so many different messages that people need help, and I starting to get on the volunteer call to help immigrants, to help like recent grad, to help like anyone who probably got laid off because the pandemic. And that was a time I starting to think, okay, how can I really scale it up? So I started to actually share more like post on LinkedIn. So now I actually have 16K followers there. Most of them are marketers. So because for that, I just really feel like I have that mission that I want to help those marketers to understand that they have these talents. And many of you here are marketers, so you might understand what I say is that I feel really sad for people that has a really great marketing talents, that they're so good at their job, but when it comes to job search, they suddenly don't know how to market themselves. So that is actually the time that I feel like, okay, I need to jump in to help those group of the people, and that's why I specialized in marketing. So today I know I receive lots of really great questions from marketers, and I love it. So I do have a really deep insights that I want to share for each question. So I'm really glad to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing, how you've come to where you are now. And I know that you're probably going to share more of your journey as you dive into the questions a little later. But I'd love for you to set the stage for us and cover some of the principal themes for today's conversation.
Yeah, so in this conversation, I guess what you will learn, I would say that the few takeaways that I want to say is that one, because I have that recruitment background, so I want to help people to understand what recruiters and hiring managers are looking for, especially in marketing, right? And I also want to help you to understand what mistakes that you should avoid, how to market yourself to potential employers. Again, most of the time, it's not the direction that you are going to is wrong. It's more likely your job search strategies is wrong. So I want to help you to understand how you can connect the dots. And then the last one, how to position yourself as the best candidate in the interview. I see lots of questions around these topics. So I'm really excited to share, what I learned in the corporate world with all of you.
Awesome. And before we get to these awesome questions, I just wanted to put this on the screen so folks can connect with you. But can you let us know your preferred way of getting in touch or preferred way of folks connecting with you when we finish this conversation?
Yes, so there's the three ways that you can connect with me. Of course, if you're interested in my service, you want to work with me, then feel free to send me the email at lydia@awakencareer.com. We'll love to get on a call with you and see how we can work together. Or you can just connect me on social media platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram. I post daily content on LinkedIn, but I also post, I would say like 3 days a week on Instagram as well. And then they are totally different format, different information. So if you would like to just learn all the job search strategies or recruitment insights or just like marketing knowledge, then feel free to connect with me on both the platforms.
Awesome. Great. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now so I can pull up these questions that folks have submitted previous to the conversation. And before we roll into the questions, I want to shout out where people are dropping in the chat box that they're calling from today. So, of course, Lydia's calling from Seattle. I'm calling from Patagonia in Argentina. We've got Buenos Aires, Argentina on the line, California, Palo Alto, California, South Carolina. We've got, let's see, Oklahoma. Awesome. So if you're just joining joining us. We'd love to know where you're calling from. You can drop that in the chat box. And I like to do that for a couple of reasons, just so that we can see where we are in the world, and also so that our guest speaker can know, okay, cool, maybe she has some sort of reference based on like someone who's calling from Ohio or Oklahoma or Atlanta, Georgia. She might know some things going on there. So just, let us know where you are in the world. And then, if our guest speaker has any insight, she'll definitely let you know. All right. So first question here. Also, if you hear your question come up and you're here on the line with us, let us know you're here. And if you have a question that comes to mind, maybe you didn't have a chance to submit it. Again, we want to hear from you. So drop those questions in the chat box or feel free to hop off mute. For now, let's get kicked off with this first question here. I have a bachelor's in public relations. Started studying data science because I wasn't getting hired for any of the marketing jobs I was applying for. What should I do to make myself stand out?
Yes. First of all, landing the first job is never easy, right? We all know that. And then I've been there when I was trying to land my first job in the States. It was super hard. I mean, different situation, but I totally understand, especially when you don't have enough experience to convince people to give you the chance. Totally understand that struggle, but I want to tell you that if you can learn one takeaway from this conversation, really don't give up on your dream if you have a huge passion on that. That will be the things that I want to utilize this time. Also, kind of share my story with you. So when I transit from sales into recruiting, I don't have any relevant experience on my resume. I basically have to start from zero, and it was hard, super hard. When I was first time transit my career from sales into recruiting, the area that I never have touched. I have lots of a moment that I want to just like go back to the comfort zone, right? Many people reach out to me, say, hey, you want to be sales? There's a sales position. And when you keep getting like rejection about your dream, you sometimes have self-doubt. And that's it happens that you have to, I guess, to have to change, to really break through the things means that you need that resilient mindset to keep going, to keep believing that someone will see your value. And that's what I actually did. I just keep trying, even though there's lots of rejections during the journey. But for me, I successfully landed 3 jobs at Amazon, Redfin, Pokemon, those 3 well-known brands via just LinkedIn networking. I don't have a perfect degree. I don't have a perfect resume. But for me, I leverage what I know, which is relationship building, networking, right? Those are the things that work for me. And so for you, you may have your own way to do the job search, and then maybe we'll be writing, maybe we'll be talking to people, right? Find your strength and just leverage it. That would be my first suggestion for you. But I do want to say that, in your case, most of the PR talents, they are actually start in agency side. So again, I'm not sure about your situation, but if you are only focused on those well-known brands, well-known corporate brands, then yes, the chance is gonna be really low. But I want to tell you why I would say start your journey in agency will be great, because most of the time, the corporate world, that they actually need PR talents, especially PR talents from agency world. Why? Because agency that have really high volume workload, the pace is super, super quick and then really stressful. But that will give you the foundation, right? Because it's really unfortunate because the corporate world, that they just don't want to take time to train people. And that's why if you have those agency experience, it's going to really help you to achieve your goal eventually. Maybe not now, but along the way, you have a higher chance to compete with other talents, especially in the PR world. So that will be one of the suggestions that I want to give you as well. Another suggestion that I want to give you is actually start to establish your network in the PR field, because PR, they need a huge network and people need to see that portfolio. I had the chance to work with a PR hiring manager at my previous employment, and then, they want to see your portfolio. So if you have not built a portfolio, you have not expand your network, this is a time. Start to do that, and you don't have to do it really formally. What you can do, you can just use Eventbrite, Meetup, or maybe just LinkedIn, to find people that you can connect and set the time to have a coffee chat with them, learn about their journey, and just slowly, build that long-term relationships. And I want to stop here for a while because I feel like most of the job seekers have the misconception when it comes to networking. When I talk about networking, it's not a numbers game. And I made a mistake. I made a mistake when I was searching for my first job. I thought if I could give all the people about my LinkedIn profile or my business card, then guess what? I might just get something. But, the truth is that when you do that, nobody gonna remember you and you're not going to remember anyone. So that is not a healthy relationship building strategy. The real networking should be really focused on the long-term relationships, because you shouldn't just reach out to people because you need a job. You really need to build organic relationships with people, and that will definitely take you far in your career. So keep that in mind if you are starting to do the networking in your job search, or in this case you want to starting to reach out to PR professionals. Really focus on you want to learn from them and not just get something from them.
All right. Thank you so much for that thorough response. I'm going to invite you to take a sip of your hot water because I know that you said you weren't feeling so
Thank
well.
you.
So I'll just, so that I don't ask you to answer another question immediately, go ahead and take a sip. So it looks like we have Lani who asked that question and is on the call now. So thank you so much for submitting that question. And Lani also writes, I have applied for agency, not corporate. And we have some other questions here about agency here. Rizalyn, you mistakenly wrote me privately, but you said it's okay to put this publicly. So Rizalyn writes, what if you're already mid-level and you've never worked at an agency before? I'm a PR and comms pro, so I recently started my own agency to get clients on the side.
I mean, that's good, right? I think that for me now, I'm entrepreneurs. I understand you actually learn more when you have your own business, right? But again, it's just how you can connect the dots, right? It's not about if you have a perfect experience on your resume. It's really about how you sell yourself. And I'm sure when you have your own business, you have to convince the clients, right? That's the one that you should also apply on yourself when you are doing a job search. So that will be my suggestion for you, really trying to figure out how to connect the dots, how to leverage your storytelling skills to convince others to see your value.
I love that. All right, so let's move on to the next question. So if you're here and you hear your question, please just drop in the chat box so that we can make sure that we've thoroughly responded to your question. And so this is the next one here. For someone switching from a non-digital marketing background, what should I do in a matter of 2 to 3 months in order to be able to secure positions such as content specialist or digital marketing specialist?
Yes. For this person, I'm not sure if you're here, but I see another similar questions later on. So I want to say that for me, my philosophy is really clarifying your goal in marketing first. To be honest with you, most of people made this mistake that they don't have a clear goal in marketing. So let's say that you have a chance to talk to a recruiter or potential employers or someone who can actually refer you to the company, and then they ask you, what's your goal in marketing? What's your job search goal? Can you answer that? I want all of you to think of that in a minute, right? The mistake that most of people would do is that, oh, I'm open to any marketing positions in your company. I can do anything. You may thought this is the right answer and will help you to get more opportunities, but the reality is that 80% of the people answered that. So to set you apart from other talents and then make you stand out, really, you have to have a clear goal. And then later on, I'm going to share some of the questions that you can ask yourself in this stage if you have not figure out your job search goal. So that will be my first suggestion for this person. Really clarify your goal in marketing first, because marketing is really broad. If you don't have a clear goal, it's really hard to convince people to give you the chance. Okay, so I made the mistakes again when I was searching for my first corporate job. I have a lot of people want to help me to get a job, but when they ask me, so how can I help you, or what do you want in your next role? And my answer is that I can do any sales or marketing roles. And guess what? I didn't get any opportunities, right? Because people don't know how to help me, even though they have that heart that want to help you to achieve your goal. So make things easier and let people remember you with your clear goal. That would be the key. And then let me see. I'm kind of checking my note because I want to make sure that I give all the great answers to the questions. So I think that another things I want to say that really clarify your goal. Once you have that goal, maybe you can have like 2 to 3 positions that you want, because when you talk about like digital marketing and content specialist, it's totally different things. I would say that they work differently, right? And digital marketing is super broad, so you have to understand, what's a niche that you really love about it. In this case, if you love about content, then think about that, what kind of content that you love, because some of the company are looking for video content, some of the company are looking for social media content. Or maybe in a smaller company they do everything, right? Those are the things that you have to think of it. So let's use the example here. If you want to work for a content specialist at this moment, then I would suggest you to go to LinkedIn or any popular job boards to find content specialist job descriptions. Collecting like 3 to 5 job descriptions from different size of a company and also different industry, because every company is looking for different things, right? So that way you starting to understand what content specialists really do. Do you love about that? Right? For my understanding, most of the content positions, if we only talk about content, they will have to write a long form and also short form content for the company, and to help the company to get more traffic, get more engagement. So the platforms could be website, could be blog, could be social media platforms, could be email, right? So content, again, it's also super broad. Do you have any specific content that you love about, or you are just trying to touch different things? Then this might be something, right? But I think that if you can have a really specific goal, just under content specialist or digital marketing specialist will also helps you a lot.
That's great. I love that you're bringing it back to, that question that you asked, like, ultimately, what do you want to do? What is your goal? And that helps me. I mean, if I can just chime in with a little bit of emotional intelligence there, it's totally about self-awareness in that case. So, what is going to fulfill you, what's going to help you reach your purpose in life. I mean, if you want to get that esoterical, so that you feel, like you can bring your best gifts and talents and, be wanting to participate in the work that you're doing. Otherwise, of course, starting your own business is always a possibility. Then you can wear all those hats at once. I find that also to be exhaustive. I mean, I started off in the like performing arts world, and moved into PR when I was in LA, and that's been years ago. And I just can see how public relations has just been helping the work that I do, like in my personal work and also in the work that when I collaborate with other people. It's definitely very insightful. So I love that question of like, what's the core? Like, how can we get more focused? And I just want to shout out that Chrissy writes that was a great question and that they just discovered theirs. And I asked if Chrissy would share. And so they say, of course, I started out in traditional and digital marketing, but my soul belongs to social media and community. It's the perfect niche for my passion. So thank you for sharing, Chrissy. And Lydia, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, here we go, right? Like everyone will start with maybe really generic marketing, right? Especially if you just graduate or you just really transit your career into marketing, you might not really know every function in marketing, but it's okay, I would say that most of the time, if recent grad reach out to me or someone just start their career in marketing, I would say that try smaller company because they have a chance to let you touch different function, right? So that also will not make you feel frustrated in your job search. I think that nowadays there's lots of like misconceptions say, oh, you have to get into big company to be a successful marketing professionals. No, I never believed that. I don't think that you have to go into like a big company to become a successful person. There's a lot of people who loves about startup environments or smaller companies because seriously, for me, even I came from like big corporates. I don't think that's my dream. You know what I mean? Like for me, I do have my plan, and that's why I get into big companies, right? And ultimately, as you can see, is because I want to do this business. So that matched to what I'm looking for. But would I say that's my dream? I don't think so. So I want to utilize this time also help people to understand that if your first job, second job, or your fifth, sixth, seventh, or you never got a chance to get into big company, you're not failure. Keeping that in mind, don't let society to decide what is success for you. You have your own definition of success.
Absolutely. I love that you're highlighting that because I love to speak about the importance of. I'm going to go a little deep here, but I promise we don't have to dive too deep if no one else wants to. But I love speaking about decolonizing the mind, which means we need to rethink everything. What is the status quo and what is this version of success that I am kind of born into based on my culture, based on my community, and does that resonate with me? So I love redefining success, right? Especially in the world of marketing, that we need to redefine lots of things, when it comes to equity, when it comes to sustainability, and not just work for that dollar, but work more with the heart. If we can put the heart back in marketing, that would be like really great, in my opinion. And anyway, so I digress. I want to flag some things that folks are writing in the chat box. So Rizlin writes, Lydia, a lot of job descriptions ask for B2B PR experience, and I come from the nonprofit government world. How can I frame my experiences as competitive?
I feel like we seen these questions at the last one. Is this the same person? um,
I'm not sure. Did you submit this question before? If not, do you mind if we tackle it now?
yeah, yeah. Okay, let me read the questions again. Yeah, so for me, whenever that people ask me if they want to switch the area, no matter from B2B to B2C or B2C to B2B or different industry, what I really want to say is that create your own opportunities. If no one want to give you opportunities, create your own. How? Really dive in to learn more about the industry itself, right? So when you have a chance, again, you have the time to shine, right? So yes, maybe you don't have a B2B PR experience. You know what? Go learn. Go to LinkedIn to learn from it. Connect with marketing professionals who are in B2B field and just listen to their knowledge. And from there, learn about it, right? And I'm sure there are lots of like information on Google, on YouTube. And what you can do is that really, on every day, you probably just like okay, focus on just the learning just one things every single day, and then learn about one case study. So now you have all the great examples in your pockets, and like I say, when you have a chance to meet a right person, you are ready to impress them. And that's what I do, when I don't have any recruitment experience. I just go find a way to learn about recruitment myself. Even now, even though I never got into marketing, I have this habit that I would learn at least one marketing strategy every single day. And that's part of my morning routine. The resource that I use, guess what? A HubSpot. HubSpot is my favorite marketing organization, and also I'm going to have a workshop with them. So if any of you love about learning about how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, Go check my LinkedIn post I just posted today. So that is my favorite resource, and of course I have other resource in my inbox. But for me, really just challenge yourself to create your own opportunities by just keep learning and keep finding a way to improve yourself.
I love that because in that strategy, you're also learning the language of the other side. Like if you haven't been a part
Yes.
of what did she say here? The B2B PR experience, but if you're kind of tapping into that world, you can connect some dots and say, okay, they're using this
Mm-hmm.
language and I basically did this over here. So maybe I can just find a middle ground or start to
Yes.
replace some lingo so that you can market yourself as more competitive in that sense. So I love that you're pushing the learning piece, which I've heard often in the past couple of weeks of interviews that, and I love this, and you're saying this as well, is that you can never stop learning. You can never learn enough. And so, especially in the marketing world where things are changing all the time, especially in this digital space, it's really, badass that you have this, goal of learning a new strategy every day. I mean, I would love to follow you on that because, and I'm sure you're posting things as well. So it's really nice to hear that you've got that morning ritual that you're okay. How can I stay on my game, and then implement that? Do you find it difficult to like implement all the things that you learn, or do you like to
Mm-hmm.
have it in your pocket just in case?
Yeah, well, because people can see your passion, right? That's why people can connect with me, even though I don't have a marketing like work experience, because I know how to speak their language by just learning. I just keep learning, and I think Mariella talk about lingo, right? As long as you can understand that lingo, you can immediately connect with people without any real experience. So that's how you improve yourself, right? Just focus on that 1% every single day. And after a month, after a year, you're gonna be a different person. And that's also the things that I tell my clients. One of my clients, she really want to get into the retail space, but she didn't really have that experience. So what I told her is that go create your own case study. Go to Target, go to Walmart, go to those big like retails, and then and she really want to get into fashion. So I say, well, go see how they display those clothes, right? And then just create your own case study. Bring that case study into the interview. Show them that you did that by your own without them asking you to do it. That's a way how you can impress those potential employers. And again, that's how you market yourself without having any great background or great like degree. So I'm a huge believer on that. It's about how you sell yourself.
Awesome. Okay, take a drink of water. I'm gonna ask if anyone here on the line would like to hop off mute. I'm gonna hold for a light pause now to see if someone wants to take this chance to hop off mute and ask Lydia a question or just, reflect a little bit with us. Please do so now if you like. Some people need the light pause. Sometimes it doesn't work, but I like to offer the space. All right, I'll be doing this again later, so look out for that. Okay, perfect. Yes, go ahead and unmute yourself. I knew someone might take the bait. Shayla, you can unmute yourself and ask your question now. Perfect.
Hi. So I'm in Canada. I am Latina in my mid 40s. Had a very non-linear sort of career progression. I started in journalism, and so trying to get back into it, having more of a marketing background, and I don't see a lot of mentorship or sponsorship. So I just want to get some sort of feedback how I can get that, because I kind of feel a bit ancient among many marketers.
Yeah, thank you for asking that questions. To be honest with you, I do have to learn more about your challenges to understand how can I give you some of the suggestions. I would say that, Sheila, you're not alone in this journey. I have a lot of clients, lots of prospects, and also followers tell me about this struggles. They just have a hard time to go back to the corporate world, and they just don't know what went wrong. And that's why I want to suggest you to connect with me and see, if you're interested in working with me, then we can definitely talk more about it. For me, I'm the one that I have to ask more follow-up question, learn more about you, and knowing how to give you the right solutions, because everybody's everyone is different. There is no just like one solutions that I can give all the job seekers. I mean, I can give the common things, right? But I think the beauty of doing this like consultant is really give you a customized solutions to help solve your problems.
And I love that you're seeing everyone as individual because I mean, I think that thank you for your question also, Shayla, and good luck. And hopefully you can reach out to Lydia and get more advice there. But I love that, we often look for just kind of, these umbrella resolutions, but as you said, Lydia, and as you know, Shayla, like you are, living in Canada, you told us a little bit about your background. We're all different and we all have like our own struggles and challenges, whether it, has to deal with our gender, our race, our culture. We just did a beautiful summit last week with Power to Fly on lifting Latin voices all over the world and, really highlighting Latina Equal Pay Day. That was last week. And just to see all of the craziness that is still going on in 2021, where, people don't get paid fairly, for example. So I love that you are, wanting to know more about this person so that you can give her more feedback. So I appreciate that. Anyone else want to hop off mute before we move on to the next question? All right. I'll be giving another some more time later for someone to hop off mute if you'd like. So let's move on to this next question here. Just getting more into the interview process. What mistakes can we avoid in an interview? What are the best questions to ask the recruiter or the HR hiring manager?
Yes, I love that question. So let me pull out my notes. Feel like I have so much want to say about these questions, and I can talk about this for a day for sure. Because like I say, I've been in recruitment for almost like 3 to 4 years, and then I've seen many of mistakes, and I wish that more people can understand that, And I think that the problems that I seen between recruitment and job market is really most of the job seekers that they don't have a visibility in the recruitment process insights. That's why there's lots of a gap, right? And that's why today I really want to share some of the common mistakes that I've been seeing in an interview and help you understand how you can avoid it in your next interview. So the first mistake that I always seen, and always this is probably the top 5 reasons that candidates didn't get selected for the next next interview is really because they don't give a real work examples. Most of the people give a really generic answers for interview questions without providing real work examples. So if you are in marketing, you probably already know story is the way to let people remember you, and your job is that people remember you to help them envision that you are the right candidates for the role. So keep that in mind. Okay, that's the biggest takeaway from this conversation for your next interview. Help interviewer envision that you are the right candidate for the role. That's your job. So how you can do that? I would say that I guess I will utilize this time to ask the audience here. How many of you have heard of STAR interview method? And leave it in chat. And I want to see how many of you know that, and also help me understand how many of you actually use that in your interview.
So you can just, give some emoji praise, raise your emoji hand, or you can do a +1 or write anything in the chat box. Let us know if you've heard of this process and if you've actually used it. All right, we've got never have, I kind of use it. Yes, I know and use the STAR method, sort of, I have. Okay, so we've got kind of all over the spectrum.
50-50. Yes.
Lani says, I worked in customer service for a public library for 10 years. Oh, this is another question. Lani, we'll get to your question in just a moment. So we've got on the spectrum of the STAR method, we've got no to kind of, sort of to yes.
Yes, and that's fair, because not everyone knows this, even though I thought every job seekers already know this strategy. And that's why in every presentation, I want to bring this up again because, I think this is a life saver for me, especially for me when I'm trying to sell myself, market myself in the interview. I always use STAR interview method to organize my story and really, under the pressure, most of the time, you probably don't know what you're talking about, right? That's a time you need to use STAR interview method, and that's a good way that you can practice your interview in advance. So I want to give one example to really help you understand, how you can use that. When I was a recruiter, I always use this example because it's really easy to understand. So let's say that you are a customer service representative and one of the interviewer asks you, how do you deal with angry customer? Pretty typical questions, right? So for you as a customer service representative, you start with, and sorry, I forgot to mention what does that mean for STAR, STAR. S means situation, T means task, A means action, R means result. So back to that example, you start with the situation that you have maybe in your current role or in your previous role as a customer service representative, right? And you talk about, there's a one like angry customer coming to the store, da da da, and then you talk about your responsibility. So that goes back to task, right? As a customer service representative, my task, my responsibility is doing this. And my real action, and here's a secret, by using STAR interview method, always prepare example that you go above and beyond your job. And that's a time in the action part that you talk about how you go above and beyond, right? So maybe you reach out to this customer to, have a private call, or maybe you send a gift, to this customer, and surprise them, right? Those are the things I'm sure is not on your job descriptions as a customer service representative, right? So find the examples that you go above and beyond your job descriptions. And then what's the result? How your action turn this negative situation into a positive results. That's the things that every interview is trying to listen. What's a result, and to be honest, in marketing, everyone want to hire marketers who can produce results. No matter how creative, how awesome you are, if you can produce results, guess what? They are going to choose someone who can produce the real results. So results is really important, especially in marketing, right? So you can talk about as a customer service representative, the result is that turns out this customer is a big Instagram influencer. So this person spreads the great words about the company, about my service. So that help our company increase that brand awareness. Something like that, so I want to highly recommend all of you here, if you have upcoming interview or future interview, definitely try to practice your interview with STAR interview method, because that's not only help you to organize the story, but back to my main points. You are using STAR interview method to help the interviewer envision that you are the right candidate to do the work. So remember that, okay? And then second things that I want to talk about, the mistake that I'm seeing a lot is that people give a lengthy answer and not focus on the time. And this is really tricky, right? Because most of you might ask me, so how do my answer should look like? I would say, try your best to kind of like measure your answer around like 3 to 5 minutes. Of course, you don't have to like count in your mind, right? But really get to the points quickly and give that easy to understand context. That will definitely help you to catch their attention. And why you should focus on just like really concise answer, but also give, the points. It's really because the interviewers may have follow-up questions. You want to allow them to have a time to ask you follow-up questions, and not just you keep selling yourself, not giving people a break to get to know more about information that you gave. So really, the successful candidates know when to speak, when to stop. That's a way you show the confidence, and then really that's a effective communication strategies that every marketing talents should have. So that would be another things. The last mistake that I've always seen is actually not knowing how to ask the right questions. I would say this is like undervalued skills in marketing, because in marketing you need to know how to ask the right question to gather the right information before you do the work. The worst case is that, okay, you thought you know everything, so you don't ask question, right? You thought you know everything, you do something, and then you present that to the clients or to the stakeholders, and then they told you that, hey, this is not what I want. So you redo the work again. So that's why most of the interviewers are assessing that if these marketers know how to ask insightful questions, if they know how to gather the right information and do the work, that shows their thought process, right? So most of the time when you are answering questions, people are also going to observing how you think through the process. Can you give a right process when you are doing the work? And most of the time you will have like behavioral questions, right? That's a time you should use again, star interview method, or maybe give the example how you do the things in a structured way. So asking the right questions and insightful questions, that will be something that I think that not lots of people keep that in mind. So I know there's another questions for this one, is asking, what are the best questions to ask when you are interview with recruiter and hiring managers. So I do have like two different kind of questions that you can ask for recruiters and hiring managers, because again, they're looking for different things, right? For you have to understand that recruiters usually they are not they're not the final decision maker when it comes to hiring people, right? They are just there to help the hiring managers to find talents and then to filter out, the unqualified talents, right? So for recruiters, what they know is about company culture, right? It's about company goal or any HR related task. You should definitely be able to ask recruiter. So the question that you can ask recruiter could be, in your opinion, how would you describe the company culture, right? That's a good way to learn about the company itself. What does the growth opportunity look like in the company? Right? That's really important, because I'm sure most of you want to have some of the growth opportunity in your next employers. So that will be one of the questions that you can ask the recruiter. As for the hiring manager, the question should be more specific, because again, they are the expert when it comes to hiring this specific role, right? They have the idea who they want to hire. So you can ask more specific question on the role itself, team's goal, or their management style, because they could be your future boss, right? So the question could be, for the hiring manager, the question could be, how do you measure the success of this role? What's a short-term and long-term goal for this role or in the team, right? What's the immediate problem that you wish this role can help solve? So you can immediately think of, if you have that solutions that you can provide to them in that interview, right? And then another question you can ask is that, what's the main project that this role will be working on? So that way you learn more about the positions that you apply for, and what this role gonna look like.
Thank you for diving deep there. I really appreciate it. And actually, we have someone on the call who has an interview at 3 p.m. Don't know what your time zone you're in today, but after this conversation, and they say that they'll definitely use the STAR method. And I'm sure with these suggested questions, that can give more, things to bring up during the interview. So good luck. This is so exciting that someone has an interview
Yes.
today, and you're giving all the knowledge on how to just rock the interview out. And so we actually have 9 minutes left. So I told you that time would fly. Is
Mm-hmm.
there anything else that you want to cover before we, come to an end? I really appreciate all of the knowledge that you're sharing. It's clearly being, helpful to the live callers here who are like, transitioning into interviews after this conversation. Lani, I know you have to jump. Lani just dropped their LinkedIn there. And actually, I'll get to your question as well, just in case you rewatch the end of this. So Lani wrote, I work in customer service I worked in customer service for a public library for 10 years. How can I relate that to social media community growing? And actually, if you have any recommendations on just like how to highlight transferable skills in general, because I know a lot of folks who pivot careers, or maybe, they take time off and they need to show that they have, the tools that this job description are asking for. How can they show that those transferable skills?
Yes. So I actually want to dive into this case because I know one of the questions is similar than this one. And I want to back to my point is that create your own opportunities, right? So in this case, for this person, only have customer service experience and want to get into the social media space, what you can do, grow your own social media account, right? That's a way you can definitely show the potential employers that you know how to do the work, right? And then, so if you really want to get into this route, what I will suggest is that really just choose one platforms, because there are so many different social media platforms. Just choose one, get really big on that one, and use that as one of the portfolio that you can show to the potential employers. And then another thing is that why this is a great way to start is really because this is the way that you can create your own community, right? And maybe you can starting to build relationships with your community. Maybe the potential employer is starting to look at you as the expert in a certain field, right? So that's one of the things that I think you should really start your own social media account and grow the community, grow your personal brand. And maybe eventually this could become your own business so you don't have to go back to the corporate world, right? I've seen many individual social media managers that they just have their own business. They just help manage other clients' social media accounts, and so they don't have to go back to the corporate again. So I think this will be a great way to just take actions and see how this new path will lead you to.
And I love that you're highlighting that, basically choose your own adventure, share your story because your story is important, and not try to fit into anyone else's, idea of success and what it means to be a rock star marketer in this case, or people who want to transfer into other roles. I just want to echo that to folks. We need more diversity, we need more inclusion, we need more, all of these um all of the isms and the crazy things that keep us separated. It's like, okay, let's show what makes us unique, and let's show how we're more alike than different. How do you do that? How do you highlight that in an interview? I will say also, don't be afraid to ask those tough questions. Lydia brought up some great questions as well, but look at what's happening right now on, in the news. How can you tie that in to, helping, making sure that this company is, valuing equity, for example, or listening to voices? How can you say, I would love to make sure that, I can hold you all accountable if you hire me. They need folks to hold them accountable. So what's a cool way to frame that in an interview, as far as accountability with all the crazy things that are going on in the world? And for the companies that do want to, take that challenge on doing better, and, being more responsible with production and consumption and all that, I would just love to hear that feedback from you.
Yes, that's such a good question. That's one of the reason that I want to become a recruiter as well. I recently wrote a LinkedIn post and got lots of reaction. It's really, my background. Again, I don't have a perfect degree, perfect experience. I basically start from the zero, start from the scratch, and people see my value. I appreciate that. And I think that the one things that I drive me to keep doing recruitment, become a to help me to eventually really get to where I want to be is really, I have this mission in mind. I want to help those underrepresented talents. I want to help more women in the leadership, and recruiter have this power. And I think that, yes, it's really sad not lots of recruiters understand how to use their power to fight for those candidates. But I still believe that there's lots of recruiters working really hard to do this. And I think that, nowadays we just need more diverse recruiters first. That's the main problem. I'm saying this to many people who curious about recruitment or maybe want to learn more about my story. I told them the problems that I see is really we don't have a diverse recruiters, and the companies are dying for more diverse talents. But when you don't have a diverse recruiters, how they are going to understand, talk to your talents, help you to attract more talents. When I was a recruiter, I've received lots of tough questions. They may not ask all the recruiters, but they trust me because I build a relationship with those people, and then I look like them, right? So they ask me that, and this is the things I guess for me why I'm taking break from recruitment is because I want to help those people, But like I say, at the end of the day, my job is helping to hire the best talents to the company. I don't have a chance to help those underrepresented groups, women, And nowadays, I can finally do that with my business. And I'm super happy with that, even though there's an old struggle, we all know that when you have your own business. But that's a belief keep me doing this, and we will see how it goes, who knows, maybe one day I will be ready to go back to be a recruiter again and fight for the candidates. Maybe I will keep doing this and see how I can use my power to influence other recruiters in the corporate.
That's beautiful. I mean, the acknowledgement. We've got Juan Rivera who wrote 100% agree, diversity is key. Absolutely. And, I think that again, as we are redefining success and you are starting your own company and your own business, and folks, either they decide to do that or not, being open and flexible, right? As long as we're giving our all and being ourselves and having that empathy piece so that people feel comfortable asking us tough questions and we feel confident to share that space and say, maybe I don't have the answer for that, or I think that is really important. Let me get back to you on that. Sharing that flexibility as we grow in our careers, I think is key so that we can, be resilient, whatever happens. We see that lots of, based on what's happened with this current global pandemic, things can go, left or right at any moment. So that flexibility, key, being resilient, and also listening to others and knowing that this is a fight that we are make slowly but surely changing. But I think, Lydia, like folks like you who decide, okay, I know I'm great at this, but I want to start my own thing and also, figure out how I can bring my purpose into my work to just amplify it. It's definitely inspiring. I really appreciate you sharing your tips today. Any food for thought you want to leave us with? We've got about 1 minute left, but any encouragement or anything you want to share with folks before we end this conversation?
Yes, I do. I would say that the one thing that I always want to share with the job seekers, really, take care of yourself first. I know we are all driven, right? We're all really driven. We want to find a job. And seeing other people get a job, is not a great feelings when you are still in that black hole, But if one things I could tell myself when I was searching for a job is really take care of yourself first, because when you take care of yourself, you have that positive energy that you can give to others, and people feel that. People always sense that, And your goal again is letting people like you, right? That's a chance that you can get into those big companies. And when you don't take care of yourself, guess what? Most of the time you have that cloud on your head and people see that and people just want to get away from that negative thoughts, So if I could give you one big career advice, really take care of yourself. And what I'm trying to do right now is really slow down to speed up.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And one more time, how can folks get connected with you? I dropped in the chat box, but for those who are watching this later, how can folks connect with you, Lydia?
Yes, so there's a three ways you can connect with me. If you want to work with me, you're curious about my service, feel free to send me an email at lydia@awakencareer.com, or you can just connect with me on social media platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram. Those are the two platforms that I constantly produce the job search tips, recruitment insights, marketing knowledge to empower people. And I also have a lot of great upcoming projects. It's going to help more people in their marketing careers. So be sure to stay connect with me, and hopefully I will see you all there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll get better soon. Thank you so much for sharing your tips and knowledge. Thank you everyone for joining today, and we'll see you on the next Chat and Learn.
Yes,
Bye.
see
Take
you.
care.